The Andy Moore Automotive Pacers Live post-game show. A little bit later, we will hear the post-game comments from head coach Rick Carlisle. Eddie, I'm curious what you thought, because Tuesday's game, the Pacers did pull off a miracle. That was one of those late seconds miracle. This is one that with about 4 minutes left, you needed another one, and you almost got to that point again.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that the Bucks got off to a tremendously good start. 14 of their first 20 shots, they go in. You had to know Giannis Antetokounmpo would have to come in with a different focus. Didn't attempt a shot until the very last play of the game for the Bucks in the fourth quarter. He came out very aggressive. Lillard as well hit some big shots. But give it up for Aaron Nesmith and the Pacers. They slowly but surely really got back into the game in the fourth quarter, but just too much to overcome.
A 14-0 Bucks run, late first, early second. A 12-0 run to end the third quarter. Those are going to be the two key stretches of the game. And then when the Bucks built their lead, the Menards big money shot of the game is Giannis. The Pacers throwing multiple defenders at him, and he still is able to weave his way through the defense, and you can't stop him when he gets that close to the basket.
Listen, offensively, he's just about as dominant as anyone you name in the game right now, with the force he puts into the paint, the pressure he puts on your defense, and the number of bodies you have to commit to him to try to slow him down.
The 30 for Aaron Nesmith, worth discussing a little bit later. I mentioned the 59 combined from Giannis and Dame Lillard, but how about Taurean Prince and Gary Trent Jr.? Those guys combined for 27, 14, 13. You might not think it was that impactful. I feel like I can remember all of those 27 points.
Yeah, listen, they fit in very well with Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard. What they do, how they command the attention out there in terms of offensively, what they do, they get it done on the defensive end, but they're able to spread the floor and knock down 3-point shots.
The Bucks only made 15 3-pointers, and I say only because they only shot 40%, and some big ones down the stretch. Damian Lillard had the range going, and the Pacers just did not have enough on this night. This arena in a little over a month. Teams currently 4th and 5th in the Eastern Conference. The Bucks prevail 126-119 over the Pacers. And in the 4-game regular season series, the Bucks take 3 of 4 in the 3 Pacers losses. Milwaukee scored 120, 129, and tonight 126. On Tuesday, the Pacers won and held them to 114. Feels like that 120 is a magic number.
There's no question about it. And it is not the recipe for success if that's the number you're giving up on a consistent basis. So clearly the Pacers have to rectify that and try to hone in on what they're doing defensively.
You mentioned the fast start for the Bucks. Again, the Pacers were trying to come from behind virtually this entire game, and it's that fast start for Milwaukee that, in addition to those runs that I mentioned, proved problematic. And Giannis had that look in his eye from the opening tip.
Listen, they made sure they got the ball in his hands where he could do some damage. And I thought the Pacers were bringing extra bodies to him, but by the time they got there, it was too late, or he was able to find a teammate.
You mentioned some logo Lillard. It's 38-30 Bucks after 1. We move ahead to the second quarter. Brook Lopez, so big for the Bucks on Tuesday, did not have as prolific of a scoring night, but did stretch the defense out a little bit there in the second quarter. But the Pacers fought hard late second quarter, and with a play like this, a block, a kick, tip ahead, and a finish, they were down by only 5 at halftime.
Yeah, after being down by 19. So did a very nice job, again, being able to surge in that second quarter. Pascal Siakam did a lot of the heavy lifting there.
You move ahead to the third quarter. You needed to try to make that 5-point deficit a lead at one point, but the Bucks got started strong, and the Pacers again trying to come back from down double digits. Their best way to come back: steals, stops, transition opportunities.
Yeah, and listen, that third quarter, it looked like the Bucks were going to deliver a major knockout blow. But as you enter into the fourth quarter, the Pacers do a nice job of slowly but surely getting back into the game, this time led by Aaron Nesmith.
182 the deficit. Bear with us. A lot of fourth quarter highlights. You saw the Pacers flying around. It did not look good when Damian Lillard is hitting shots like that. But again, the starters came in with about 7.5 minutes to play, and they just fought. They tried to chip away. But again, too much of an deficit to overcome due to plays like that from Gary Trent Jr.
Listen, when you have such a large deficit, you almost have to play flawless basketball. And it's a wonder the Pacers were able to get this thing to a one-possession game at one point late in the fourth quarter before the Bucks make another basket.
You're going to see a trio of baskets from Aaron Nesmith. I'm curious your perspective as we watch these. On the floor, primarily for defense, but his offense was impactful. And when Andrew Nembhard hit that three, I'm saying, you're saying there's a chance?
Exactly right. You're starting to raise your eyebrows a little bit because the Pacers clearly did what they needed to do to get within striking distance, but just 1 or 2 possessions shy.
If only that challenge could have been successful and you get the ball back down 3, who knows what could have happened. Indiana Members Credit Union with the final stats. And again, that field goal percentage is tough, 54%. And the rebounding totals favored the Bucks. Oddly enough, the Pacers had more offensive rebounds than Milwaukee. You're not that disappointed with the total of 8 offensive rebounds, but there were 2 big ones with about a minute to play when you really needed that possession.
Yeah, you had to have it, and they were able to come up with a couple there that really crippled. And then they hit a back-breaking 3. The Torian Prince hit one on the wing there to really put the Pacers out of their misery in this game.
I'm curious what you think about this series right now, because the numbers would say 3-1 and maybe you needed a miracle to win on Tuesday, but I still feel like I wouldn't mind another opportunity in a playoff series.
Yeah, I mean, it would certainly be very entertaining. We referenced it during the pregame. These two teams have seen a lot of each other over the last couple seasons, a little bit irritated with each other, which also takes the sense of urgency to another level and the intensity to another level. So would love to see it, and the Pacers and the Bucks would definitely be good in the first round.
And this was not a late arriving crowd. Everyone was in their seats for the starting lineups. I heard more boos during the Pacers visiting team introductions than you normally do. And quickly, Aaron Nesmith, 30-point night.
Yeah, so happy for what he was able to get done there. You referenced the defensive force that he's able to bring, and he did that also again tonight. But offensively, he was everything the Pacers needed in that fourth quarter.
6 for 7 from outside the 3-point arc, 11 for 16 from the field, but just not enough all the way around. Time for tonight's Master Jewelers defensive gem. The key to this game for the Pacers was to get stops and get out in transition. They did on this play. Aaron Nesmith and Tyrese Halliburton working on the other end of the floor.
You needed significantly more plays just like this. Nesmith down on the floor, sprawled out, trying to come up with that loose ball, and he does a great job of coming up with.
Pacers had 26 points off of 18 Bucks turnovers. More post-game reactions after break. Milwaukee, let's get the post-game comments now from Pacers head coach Rick Carlisle.
It was a struggle. Just without looking at it, I can't give you the exact detailed reasons, but some nights it's tough on the starters. Some nights it's tough on the bench, and I'll have to look at it. Maybe I'm subbing too many guys at once. Not sure, but I know we're certainly capable of better, and we're going to have to look at it and fix it.
What do you think of the way you guys defended Giannis and what he did in this game?
I don't know. I really haven't looked at his numbers yet. Yeah, I mean, we didn't do a great job really on anybody defensively. And we defensively we were just very, very, very mediocre in the first half. We hung in because we kept fighting back, and we had some good offensive stretches. But defensively we were pretty good in the second and fourth quarters, and we struggled in the first and third.
Usually what stands out in that is kind of, you say, force, basically, edge, posture. Is that the thing you saw stand out, that there wasn't enough of that keeping the ball out of the paint?
Yeah, so I don't know the paint numbers for each quarter, but I know that we only had 2 paint points in the first quarter ourselves. And so that speaks to level of force and leverage really on both sides of the ball. And so, it was a rough game. They came out very aggressively. And again, we had good stretches, but fighting back from, large double-digit leads is very difficult.
You got obviously 30 out of Aaron tonight. I think he was plus 27 while he was on the floor, 6 of 7 from 3. What stood out to you? Just what he did on offense, but just what he does on both sides of the ball.
Played a great game. He plays with a pure heart. He goes hard. He's willing to give up his body. He's just all about the team. And the 30 points to him doesn't mean much if the team doesn't win the game. And that's a special kid.
So obviously,
Pacers head coach Rick Carlisle talking about Aaron Nesmith and his 30-point performance tonight. Pacers, though, fall to the Milwaukee Bucks. Back Fiserv Forum one final time alongside Eddie Gill. Let's take a look at our night in FanDuel activities. Not often we show you a free throw. I'm not sure if we even will, but Damian Lillard hit a free throw. There he was fouled, scored the first points. His odds to do so were plus 490. Time for that Same game parlay, the 3-player props we presented as possibilities to consider. Second straight night, you were in business if you took an Aaron Nesmith prop.
Yeah, he cleared that by a large margin. Again, he's just been in a really nice groove offensively, scoring it really well in a variety of ways. I just really like how he's making his decisions. He's stepping into shots with confidence on the perimeter. And then when they run him off the line, he's getting to the rim for layups.
9th consecutive game with a double-double for Tyrese Halliburton. That ties the longest such streak of his career. Had one of those last season. 24 points, 15 assists, and also might add, Eddie, 0 turnovers.
It's wild. It's mind-boggling what he's doing from an assist-to-turnover ratio standpoint right now, but also being able to score it at a high level. I was really happy to see him, especially in the second half, taking some of those layup attempts, getting all the way to the rim, able to finish there.
So the only of the 3-player props that did not hit, it was the Milwaukee one. Normally we would be just fine with this one not hitting. Brook Lopez. We showed him to get 15 points. Had some early scoring, but then not as much in the second half. Did only finish with 10. And when Giannis and Lillard were doing there for a guy like Brook Lopez, he was 4 for 5 from the field. So you see the same game parlay. Nesmith, yes. Halliburton, yes. Brook Lopez, no. Other games still in progress. If you are so inclined, you can check out FanDuel for a live line. Spurs have a 2-point lead over the Pelicans. The Warriors leading the Knicks. Golden State is red hot. And how about that one? The Nuggets against the Wizards. Washington already this week with a win against the Pistons, now trying to get a win there against the Nuggets. So, Eddie, we are maybe going to be back here next month. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but an important finale to this 3-game road trip coming up on Monday, and you've got 2 games still yet to play this regular season against Minnesota, and maybe bad timing because the Timberwolves are probably playing as well as they've played this entire season.
Exactly. They've been up and down for the large part throughout the season up until these last 8 games or so where they've been playing really good basketball, obviously led by Anthony Edwards. He is an absolute problem in many ways for many teams. So tough game here coming up for the Pacers, but obviously another opportunity.
Tomorrow will be a day to travel and rest after the back-to-back, and again, you will take on the Timberwolves at the Target Center on a Monday night. Pacers Live pregame on the air from Twin Cities at 7:30. There was a lot of hype, a lot of anticipation for this 4th and final regular season matchup against the Bucks. From an intensity level, it did live up to the billing. Just could not see the Pacers complete that comeback tonight. Thank you so much for joining us on a Saturday night from Milwaukee. Enjoy your Selection Sunday. We'll see you on Monday from Minnesota. Take care. We'll talk to you then.